Alright, don't mind the fact that my hair is all messed up and I just woke up. Yesterday was awesome. I went to that session at 8 p.m. Honestly, you don't need to know anything really before that. It was just general work. But yeah, that session was awesome. I actually had no idea. My friend just told me, my videography friend, there's this thing and I want you. And I didn't know what it was. Turns out it was a wedding. So I was like, wow, that's the first time I'm ever shooting a wedding. I'll give you the final breakdown of like all the balances and stuff at the end of the challenge, because I think now there's 15 days. I messed up in the previous video by saying it's 15. Now it's 15. So yeah, time's ticking. But yeah, regardless of all that, I went there, met him. We got like a whole plan of like how we're gonna walk, how we're gonna shoot. It felt like a very organized session. I normally don't feel this kind of pressure. It's very, very nice, I'll be honest. It was cool. And then, all the shots, you have like a checklist of stuff. I'm not really used to this, bro. When I do sessions, it's just like, we'll go with the flow. This is like very organized. But of course, the best part of any wedding is the free food, which I had to take advantage of. I got a lot of food yesterday. And I came back from the event at like 1 a.m. It was pretty late. But yeah, it was fun. And then I kept talking with, the videographer who gave me the job. And I wanted to share oh my gosh, I can't speak English. I wanted to share with you guys what he told me and like kind of the lessons that we both got from that day. One piece of advice, which is really, really important, which I haven't seen many photographers at all talk about, which is that you shouldn't focus on the money. So don't say like, I'm charging you this much for this many photos and you have to pay me this much. Don't focus on the money. Focus on over-delivering. I hear this way too little. Like, this piece of advice is not even that common nowadays. I see some people talk about it, but it's still in the depths. You gotta search for it. This is so key. Every time I personally have gotten greedy, even during this challenge, saying like, oh no, but you could pay this much more. Don't worry. I'll give you this if you pay this much. I was always thinking about the money, always thinking about the balances, calculating how I'm gonna get to the 5K. If you can reject that part of your mind who's always chasing the money, always wanting the money, you'll focus on the client more. And that's what you should do, because you're a photographer. You're doing this for the people. So yeah, it was incredible when I actually saw it firsthand, because he told me about this and I was like, yeah, every single time that I've focused on the money on a shoot, every single time that I've focused on grabbing the most money out of someone, I left them unsatisfied and I left myself feeling a bit empty, so it makes sense. Second piece of advice that we both talked about, which is more of like a long-term play, but charge lower to keep the client for longer. This one's actually more common, this piece of advice, especially in the beginnings. But honestly, from the people I've spoken to, from the people who, I've networked with, because I've done so many outreaches that, I've spoken to some pretty big photographers and videographers. And, everyone, even on the professional level, still does this. Everybody charges lower than they actually think they're valued. But it's just to keep the client for longer, which is really interesting way of looking at it. But in the end, you make more money, so that's good. That was it. See ya.